I get asked where I'm from before I speak.
I get asked where I'm from after I speak.
And when a new family moved in,
Yeah,
all the kids would go, knock on the door, introduce ourselves. Do
right.
you have any children? And we could play. There
Yeah,
wasn't this, oh, your family are immigrants or you're not from here. There was none of
right.
that. So we weren't strangers. We
Nope.
became friends.
Stories, labels, misconceptions. NHS remains a blessing. Created in 1948. We want it to remain great. A podcast where we share our stories, explore solutions in all their glories. They say it's broken, but it's not done. With your hosts Val, Barrett, and Dr. Jeremy and the Sun.
Today, we're exploring the crisis in the UK's care sector, a sector already overwhelmed, underpaid, and reliant on overseas workers. The government has announced changes to immigration rules, including stopping new care workers from abroad bringing family just when the sector needs them most. This episode asks who will do the caring and what does it say about how we value care work and the people who do it. Welcome to another episode of Stories, Labels and Misconceptions. As always, with me, Val Barrett.
I'm Dr. Jeremy Anderson.
Oh, no.
Hello.
And how are you today?
I'm doing great. And I was thinking I just need to start this off by just reminding people that I am an immigrant to this country and I work in healthcare service. So
Mhm.
I think the issues we're talking about today are really directly relevant to what brought me to the UK. And so I don't think you're going to hear me speak out against immigration. It would be hypocritical of me to suggest that we should have fewer immigrants legally migrating to the UK to work in the healthcare service.
Mhm, mhm.
I do have personal experience, so I think I can comment on some of the things that the government was talking about in their white paper, because I've just reviewed that. I didn't review the whole 82-page white paper, but I did get the highlights and some things that were a bit confusing.
Mhm. I was
Yeah,
shocked at the language.
I didn't watch.
It's land of strangers.
Yeah,
I'm born here.
yeah.
My parents came here from Jamaica in early 60s, about
Hmm.
1960. And my father worked on the M6.
Yes.
He came here first, got a job, because what normally happens is the man can sleep anywhere.
Hmm.
He can sleep on someone's floor, but he's not going to let his wife and kids. So he came first,
Yes.
got a job, saved money, thought, okay, I've got my wife and 2 children back in Jamaica. Who do I send for next? The ideal thing is to send for the other person that can get a job. So he found a job for my mother before she came here. So he got her here.
Yes.
So she worked, they both worked hard, found a home, and saved up enough money. He didn't want to send for one child and leave one out there
So the kids
on the home.
weren't with mom. So
Sorry?
where mom came over.
My mum came over. My sister stayed with grandparents.
Okay,
Yes.
so
What
the
happens is 9
parents are
times out of
separated from
10,
their kids.
the man comes first. So when
Yes.
people say, "Where are the women? Where are the women?" The man comes first. If you haven't got a home for your wife and kids, you're not going to ask your wife to sleep on someone's floor. As my dad could sleep on someone's floor, on their sofa, save up money, send for the wife. She can get a job, save up money, find a home. Find a
Then,
home, then bring the children.
yeah.
That's why when people moan and say, "Where are the women?" Would you put your wife on someone's floor or you don't know exactly what you're coming to?
Hmm.
It's easier for a man.
Yeah.
So In terms of integrating, I was raised in a small town in the Midlands.
Hmm.
And as far as I know, there wasn't any problems as far as I know. Not like in a city. We knew every single neighbor
Right.
on our street. And when a new family moved in,
Yeah.
all the kids would go knock on the door, introduce ourselves. Do
Right.
you have any children? And we'd play. There
Yeah.
wasn't this, oh, your family are immigrants or you're not from here. There was none of
Right.
that. So we weren't strangers. We
No.
became friends.
So when you say there's no problems, you mean your family was accepted into the existing community. It wasn't just a community of all immigrants, but your family was an immigrant family
I
and
think
they
it
were
was,
accepted.
yeah, I think it was because it's a small town.
Yeah.
Yes, you're going to have a few, but overwhelmingly
Welcoming.
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They saw my parents worked hard.
Yeah.
They purchased their own home. They didn't come here to steal council homes. It's just ridiculous.
Hmm.
Wherever you go, everybody wants the best for their families. At that time, Jamaica was under British rule. My dad
Yeah.
had a British passport. And can't remember what year Jamaica went independent, but under British rule, a lot of them were asked to come here. Remember the Windrush?
Yes.
Do you want people to come here and do the jobs the indigenous population won't fill? So it's all right to welcome them then, and now you don't want them here. Which is it? Yes, everyone says, I don't know the exact figures, there's a lot of immigrants here or illegal. But when they just had the council elections, the issues were illegal immigration, the boats.
That's what people are
That's
concerned
what
about is the
people were
illegal
shouting
immigration.
loud
Yeah.
about, the boats. So why did Sir Keir Starmer get up that day to do that awful speech? Land of strangers. It just stuck out. And the fact that he didn't even mention the boats. Because you know why? Because this is easier for him to deal with. And the more he ignores the boats or comes out with a decent plan, you might as well hand the keys to number 10 to
Yeah.
reform. He needs to deal with it head on. But he
Yeah.
took the coward's way out. He took the easy route. The NHS is at breaking point. It
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Do you think it makes sense to say, I'm going to make these changes to immigration, even though this is a big change for him? Is this just a response to reform doing well at the local elections?
Yes,
It's the conservatives that are losing voters to reform. Is Labour losing voters to reform?
they're all
Losing to reform.
Also,
Particularly,
don't forget, Sir Keir
yeah.
Starmer's performance or whatever isn't doing as well. The worst thing that they're doing, they keep beating reform with a stick. Stop beating them.
Yeah.
Worry about what you can do. Tell us your plans. Tell us your policies.
Yes.
Stop coming out with, oh, they're racist, they're this, they're that. I think people are adults. People can figure that out for themselves.
Hmm.
If he's pledging to do what the majority of the British people want done, people are going to vote for them.
Hmm.
It is as simple as that. And quite frankly, people are fed up with the political establishment.
Starmer looked at the writing on the wall and said, this is the issue. I need to change tack here and make changes to immigration. Otherwise, we're going to get obliterated.
Well, it's all well and good saying they want to reduce the number by 50,000 this year. But this is as part of a new restrictions to cut low-skilled foreign workers by 50,000. So care workers can no longer be recruited from abroad. Did he consult the care homes?
Yeah.
Did he consult them? Who is going to look after your loved ones?
Is there just an overabundance of care workers? No, right? Like, right?
I don't think there's a long queue of British people waiting to step into these roles. It's
No.
just not there. One minute they say they're going to fix social care. This ain't fixing it.
Yeah.
They need to value the care worker sector more. Just like NHS nurses, if you do something wrong, you can be struck off.
Mhm.
There's no formal national qualification to become a care worker. Yet, just like NHS nurses, they are dealing with the elderly and the vulnerable, which doesn't make sense, which tells you the government doesn't value care workers. What they do,
Yes.
when they say it's unskilled, I don't believe it is.
But you have to have some skills, right?
It's a skill.
If they make formal qualifications or registration like a profession,
Mhm.
those people
Yeah.
could command a higher salary.
That would make families feel better
Absolutely.
when leaving their
Yeah.
loved ones, especially if they're living with dementia or
Yeah.
whatever, in a care home,
Yeah.
that they are taken care of by qualified staff. And if something does go wrong, they could be struck off and they can't work anywhere else.
So
you
we're
know?
in a country where we've got like a lot of care needs, especially as the population ages.
Are going to get worse.
Yeah. We've got a lot of young people not working and people who want less immigration. If you don't want these people coming from abroad to care for people, you need to get people who are not working into these jobs. And the way to do that is to offer them training, a higher salary perhaps than what's being offered now. You got to prepare people and value these jobs.
Last year alone, there was 152,000 vacancies in adult social care. So imagine when this new policy phases out in 2028, there's going to be a lot more vacancies. If you don't take care of one sector, they end up in another.
Exactly.
So if you're not looking after primary care, social care, they're going to end up on the wards.
Yeah.
That's exactly where they're going to end up.
Yes.
They don't believe in spending all that money in this sector, spend it in social care. A lot of them don't need to be on a ward.
Yeah.
A lot of elderly are there because they can't look after themselves at home and there's no one to take care of them. A care home can only take as many. I don't know what the ratio is. Obviously, there is one.
They need staff too, right? They'll be looking for
They're the
staff
ones
too.
that need.
Yeah.
Him to say it just beggars belief. It's just starving.
Yes.
Starving for decent stuff is about what they value most.
Yes.
Care is essential, yet treated as disposable.
One thing that was interesting to me in the immigration white paper is the aim to end the long-term trend of relying on international recruitment.
Yeah.
And it made me think about my experience. I've been in the UK for 10 years. I'm Canadian.
Do you have your citizenship?
I do. So I came to this country in 2014. And the process for me was I had to first get my qualifications recognized.
Well,
So I trained in Canada because that's where I'm from. And so my qualifications needed to get recognized. So before I'd done anything, that was the first step. Once recognized, I had to apply for a job. We were part of the EU back then before Brexit. The employer had to actually show that they'd advertised the job sufficiently widely that first there was no local like UK applicant who could do that job. And then there had to be no EU applicant who could do that job because we were part
and
of
when
the
they
EU.
say, so all this about is the best person for the job is nonsense, isn't it?
And I understand they want to give their own citizens priority.
But that doesn't say it's the best, not necessarily,
But I guess the reason I mentioned it is because there's this idea that it's all these foreign workers that are taking jobs from people who
You,
are here already. But that wasn't my experience. My experience was the people who were here got first crack. The people in
yeah.
the EU got the second swing at it. And then I was considered, once you get a job, you apply for a visa.
Okay.
I got a tier 2 visa, an extension, indefinite leave to remain. Last year, my wife and I got our citizenship.
You came here as a clinical psychologist with a PhD. You won't be considered low skilled.
I wasn't a low skilled
No,
immigrant.
you
I was the
will.
high skilled immigrant.
So that is what they want. They want high skilled, but not low skilled.
Yes.
They're just stopping the low skilled care workers. Whether you came 10 years ago or in 10 days' time, you will be fine. You know,
I suppose so, but the rules still apply. There has to be a shortage of workers. Obviously, the more specific or highly trained you are, there's fewer people to do that. But
mhm.
it's interesting when they talk about the skilled worker threshold, they're talking about creating a migration advisory committee and a labor market evidence group. They want to draw on data to make decisions about the state of the labor market. Rather than always relying on migration, they currently rely on the state of the labor market because they review sectors of the labor market where there are shortages. They've always done that. So they're portraying this as a change, something they're going to do differently. And it's not really clear to me that it's any different because that's really what I went through, where
Yeah.
like they always had a case where it was easier to get a visa automatically if you were applying for a job where there was an existing shortage. So the government monitored that.
Yeah.
Some of these announcements are changes, and I think some of this is just rehashing the same thing they've
It's
always been doing.
reactionary
Yeah.
politics. When Yvette Cooper was asked to give an immigration target,
Mhm.
she refused to. I
Yeah.
don't blame her. You give a target, you set yourself up to fail. The Tories set targets in 2010, no,
Mhm.
2015 and 2017.
Yeah.
Achieve it. You can always set one, but will you achieve it? It's like they set that housing one
Mhm.
for Angela Rayner. They set her up to fail.
Mm.
It's weird how they give some departments targets, but don't target when it comes to immigration, because they know it doesn't work.
No, for as long as I've been here, politicians have been talking about
Mm,
we're going to stop the boats and
yeah,
reduce
yeah.
immigration, and it never works. But I think this feeds into
Mhm.
the popularity of reform.
Nigel Farage comes across differently,
Mhm.
and people like him. I
Yeah.
at least don't know what Keir Starmer stands for. If someone stands for X, whether I agree or not, you
Mhm.
know what they stand for. You
Yes.
absolutely know. With Keir Starmer, I don't know if it's just me. I
Uh-huh.
haven't got a clue. I don't know. He flip-flops and he's a reactionary politician. And to
Yeah.
me, that's the worst type of politics because people don't know you. 1 minute, you're for
Yeah.
immigration, people coming in, being offered jobs. You can't take someone's job. If
Yeah.
you want the job and it's advertised, apply. It's as simple as that. Apply. I just don't know who he is. And to me, that's odd.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that he's PM, it says a lot about him.
It seems odd, but it's not the first time we've seen this. Starmer is pivoting on immigration
Yeah.
in response to reform. Didn't we see this with Cameron and Brexit pivoting because of UKIP?
Mainly because of his own party.
Yes.
Wanted a vote on it. They've been on about that for years.
And
Now,
wasn't it the case that the Conservatives were hemorrhaging votes to UKIP and they wanted to stop the bleeding? And so David
yes.
Cameron was saying, okay, we'll do this referendum. And yes, he wasn't for it. He didn't think it would pass, and it did. I think Starmer is looking at reform and saying it's not
Even
happening
that
yet.
huge then. What they are now,
Yeah.
completely different to what they were then.
Sh-
Back then, it was just Nigel Farage on his bandwagon.
Yeah.
Give him credit. He banged the drum about the same thing. over and over again. He never deviated. You knew what he stood for. Now it's different. They've got MPs.
Yeah.
They're getting council seats. It's a different ball game.
Yeah.
People are voting for them in their droves. Is Dominique Fiat? Shouldn't have he had a plan about the boats? I thought he did, but to announce this, it would have been better if he'd announced something about the boats. He never mentioned it.
No. To your point about what Farage stands for, there's a cautionary tale here.
Yeah.
I was listening to another podcast where someone from Reform was talking about the Canadian model. They're actually looking at this in terms of what happened in Canada probably 15 years ago or 20 years ago. A similar dynamic existed in Canada when I was growing up, where there were a lot of people who were alienated. And so the Conservatives were fractured between a Reform Party and a Tory Party, which they called themselves Progressive Conservatives. It's an oxymoron, but they were socially progressive and fiscally conservative. They got wiped out in an election after Brian Mulroney stepped down in scandal, and Kim Campbell, Canada's only female prime minister, they got wiped out in an election, and they were split with the Reform Party, came out of Western Canada.
Yeah.
Then they changed the name to the Alliance Party at some point, and then the Tories, who didn't have many seats, they decided, okay, we need to unite the right and create what was the Conservative Reform Alliance Party, which name didn't last very long because they realized the acronym was crap. So they did the Canadian Reform Alliance Party. So they changed.
Yeah.
They then changed the name of the party, so it was the Conservative Party of Canada. But what it did was it merged social conservatives and fiscal conservatives. So it made the Tory Party much less like the Tory Party before, the Tory Party like in the UK, more like the Republican Party in the US. And when they got in, they were promising one thing, but a lot of things came along with that that weren't really talked about before the election. So they got rid of the national census. Does the UK have a census every 5 or 10 years? A full census. The Conservatives axed the long form census. They didn't want to collect data that would mean they would have to respond to inequalities. They made cuts to a lot of education related initiatives. They talked about cutting waste, but basically efforts of the previous government to reduce inequalities were axed. That's why my wife and I left Canada, was because the organization that she was working for got axed. And so just as a cautionary tale, parties campaign on one thing and you think you know what they stand for, but when they get in, they start doing things that you didn't expect. And I see a similar thing going on in Canada right now. So there's a separatist movement in Alberta, in one of the Western provinces. The current leader is not a secessionist, does not want to leave, but she's being pressured to put it to a referendum vote. And I can see that happening very much like David Cameron, where the leader of an area is saying, okay, we're going to have a referendum, it'll work, but the people campaigning for this, we know they don't tell the truth, right? Where's the 300 million pounds a week for the NHS that we were promised? And so we know people doing this lie, and things happen you didn't expect, but the motivation is the same. If you're losing support to a secessionist group and you think, okay, I just need to pacify people with a vote, that never works. So I'm very worried, but the same thing could happen with reform in the UK.
At the end of the day, we know that the government need to reduce immigration, whether it's legal immigration or illegal. They want to reduce net migration to prioritize British workers. Now, I'm British, but as told you before, I walked down the street, woman was flagging me down, so I thought, oh my God, she's lost. She was quite old. So I waited for her to cross the road to ask me,
Where are you from?
where am I from?
Yeah.
Now, the two of us are sitting here. I can
Uh-huh.
see, you can see me. We know you're Canadian by your accent and the fact
Yeah.
you said,
I'm not from here.
and you're not from here. But if you and I were walking down the street, people would assume I was the immigrant.
People never flagged me down from
Good.
far away saying, hold on, where are you from? No one's done that.
When they say British workers,
Yeah.
do some people in their heads think white workers?
Sure, some do.
What does it mean? Because if I was working in a care home, I'm born and bred here, but my parents weren't, but
Hmm.
I was. This has to do with me, where I was born, because we can always trace and think that whatever wasn't born here, their granddad wasn't born here, whatever. But when it comes to me,
Hmm.
I'm British. I was born here. But when people scream that out,
Hmm.
do they mean British as in white? Is it a colour thing?
That's a good
You see,
question.
sometimes
Yeah.
I feel it. People, when they look at you, they automatically, like I said before I speak, they other me. I'm not from here. I'm a stranger. Do you see
Yeah.
what? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So when he said what he says, he could have made the place more dangerous for people like me and my son.
Yeah. If people use skin color as a proxy
The
for a
words,
foreigner. Yeah. Yeah.
he could have said it differently.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to always explain that I'm born here. I
Hmm.
shouldn't have to carry a flag saying, yes, I'm born here. I may not look like you, but I'm born here. I shouldn't have to.
Hmm.
I shouldn't have to prove that. You don't have to prove that.
No.
And you're not born here.
Right.
He
So for a
has
lot of
to be
people,
careful of the language that he
yeah,
uses. He really does. He doesn't
because
realize the impact it has on communities.
yeah, so there's skin color is this proxy for immigrant, right? It's just simple, everyone can see it. But what do you think about the importance of culture and people having a compatible culture? If somebody really wants something different,
Yeah,
if the things that are important to the people here
yeah,
are not important to the people that are coming in, and
mhm,
if you have a large, I think this is really what the fear is, right? That
yeah.
there are large numbers of people who want different things in life than what the people here want. And they say they don't like that, right?
Wherever you go,
Hmm.
all of us have our own culture,
Hmm.
our own way of doing things,
Hmm.
probably our own religion,
Hmm.
things we practice, food we eat. Food brings people together. The music, whatever it is.
Hmm.
My parents came here. They
Hmm.
still cook their rice and peas and chicken
Yeah.
every Sunday. What I like about that culture, that way of life, was that we'd sit down on a Sunday
Hmm.
knowing that wherever a Jamaican is around the world, we're
Hmm.
eating the same dish.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
You
That's
know?
a food brings people together, and
Yeah.
you'll get no argument from me.
Call it saltfish. You call it
Mhm.
salted cod. We get
Yeah,
that
yeah.
from you.
Canadians, yes, absolutely. We're
Absolutely.
we're family. Having a good meal is one of the
Mhm,
perks of being human. Food is a good example. So,
mhm.
what if people come in who don't eat something you would eat, right? You said rice, beans, and chicken, right?
No,
This
there's
is
rice and peas of chicken.
rice and peas and chicken. Sorry. Hypothetical example, right? What if we had mass immigration of vegans? They'll eat rice and peas, but not the
Mhm.
chicken,
That's
right?
up to them.
What if they won't eat with you if you're eating chicken? Yeah, but
At the
now
end
you're,
of the day, but that's
but the
not
point is you're not
that's
eating.
meat.
Hmm.
Some
Yeah,
people don't eat meat, some people don't eat fish. That's not a culture thing. That's a choice. Not all Jamaicans eat meat.
I was making a hypothetical example.
No, but
If
that
large numbers of people
never
make that choice to
Yeah.
not eat together, we're not eating together, right? if you have large numbers of people who are choosing not to do this,
Yeah.
now we're losing that benefit, right?
What does integration mean to you?
Integration, it means that people moving have to make changes.
May change it.
I think that's the easy part that everyone, at least the people here, would say, yes, those people need to change. They need to assimilate. And what I would argue from the Canadian perspective is that the Indigenous people, the people who are born and bred here, as new people come in, they have to change too. Integration means both sides making changes. So the people who are coming from someplace else and are moving and being accepted into a new place have to make some accommodation.
Oh, yeah. It's easier when the languages are easy. My Jamaican is still patois, but it's easier. But when they talk about integration, people may want to integrate with you, but you may not want to integrate with us. You may not want to be friends with a person of color.
Yeah.
It works both ways.
It does.
When this community here go to live in Spain, do they not live with the English in Spain?
Yes, and I think if you retire in Spain for the last 20 years of your life, you should know some Spanish. You should be willing to eat some Spanish food, drink Spanish beer. Integration means you take on some characteristics of the place where you're living.
I wouldn't live in a country if I couldn't speak the language, get by. It's hard enough understanding their ways, culture, and laws. You have to respect the laws of the land you're in.
That's a key part of
But
integration.
if I can't speak it, I would find that extremely hard.
Exactly.
I really would. If you can't speak it, you can't integrate. I had a neighbor all the years she was here. It was really bad.
Yeah.
I was walking down the road and this lady thrusted her phone in my face because she couldn't communicate with the people at the council. I thought, how am I going to communicate with you? To communicate with them? We may be both ethnic minorities. I don't speak your language.
Yeah.
I can't chat if it's personal business.
Yeah.
You know me. So that hinders you as well.
It does.
You see what I mean? It really does, but I couldn't do it. Let's have a breather.
Yeah.
Because we've digressed a bit, as we usually do, and we'll get back on topic. We're back.
Yeah.
We did start off talking about the care sector.
Yes.
Who are very starved of staff. And we know this. And Zakir Starmer, our leader, has announced he wants to reduce the healthcare worker visa by 50,000 this year. That's a lot considering there's over 100,000 vacancies. The NHS and the care sector as a whole, it has been heavily reliant on immigrants. It has.
Yes.
No matter what country you're from, you are classed as an immigrant. In 2024, about 11,000 people from overseas took up posts in England. But that was down from 26,000 the previous year. This includes staff on health and care visas and other immigration routes. So the Home Office issued 106,000 visas to social care workers. That is a lot.
And they want to reduce that.
They want to reduce that. If there's that many visas being handed out, there's obviously a need.
And you said there's 150,000 vacancies, right?
Yeah. We know care homes are going to suffer. But most importantly, the residents of those care homes are going to suffer. And then the families will suffer. It impacts on everybody. And then the NHS
Mm-hmm.
will suffer.
Yeah.
Cause and effect. When these knee-jerk reactions and policies are made with slogans, because we've got to have a slogan, a land of strangers. Do they ever think, okay, if we take away X, there's still going to be a gap? We've already got a gap we can't fill anyway.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to fill an even bigger gap?
They have to train the local population and make it a
The
desirable.
local population don't want.
Yeah.
I've got a breakdown of why British workers are hesitant
Mm.
to enter the care sector. It's due to a combination of factors: low pay,
Mm-hmm.
challenging working conditions, limited career progression opportunities, and the stigma of the job.
Stigma.
Yeah. And a lack of public recognition contribute to the unattractiveness of care. Public
It's
recognition. What do you want public to do?
okay. It's low paid, low status job, nowhere to go.
Like we said, it's considered low skilled. And it's not. It often involves long hours, shift work, and physically demanding tasks, leading to burnout and a sense of being undervalued.
If it's low paid and low status,
Yeah.
you are undervalued.
Yeah. And it has made it unattractive to the British people. It really has. A mental and physical strain takes a toll on them. So the government have a lot more work to do to
I
come
guess.
up with a slogan and a policy because of reform.
Yeah.
So perhaps like the Nursing and Midwifery Council, the NMC,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps care workers should have their own national
You
registration,
need to register to
professional qualification.
make it attractive, better
everybody-
paid, higher
Yeah.
status. Yeah.
So everybody knows, including the government, that everyone working there has been trained to a standard.
Mm-hmm.
When things are against the wall, the care workers need them fast. They're given basic
Mm-hmm.
training to get by. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which you wouldn't do that as an NHS nurse. I'm not saying that these care workers are pulling in catheters, but they might be. So I know there's different levels of care homes.
I suspect the kinds of workers they're talking about without training would not be qualified to put in a catheter. But the problem remains, we've got a lot of people not working, a lot of positions, these low skilled, low status jobs that we want filled, and they want to reduce immigration, which is the way those jobs have been filled in the past. So it seems the only solution is to upskill and up status these jobs, make them desirable posts for the local population.
Did you know in Wales
Yeah.
and Scotland there is a care workers register?
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a step towards professionalization. They need a bit more carrot,
Only
less
England.
stick. Yeah.
We are the United Kingdom
Mm.
on certain things, and on certain things where England, Northern Ireland, and Scotland and Wales. So if Scotland, Wales, and I think Northern Ireland does it as well.
Mhm.
They've got the Northern Ireland Social Care Council. Scotland has got Scottish Social Services Council.
Mhm.
And Wales has got Social Care Wales. So
Mhm.
their care workers must be registered.
Does that requirement to be registered allow them to command a higher salary?
I
Because
do not know. Let me
Yeah.
tell you what the salary is. When it comes to wages,
Mhm.
it is low. So that's driving the recruitment crisis really bad.
Yeah.
The average wage for a care worker is £11.58 an hour, just 14 pence above the national minimum wage. It's less than a typical McDonald's or a burger. More important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get paid more to flip burgers.
They value McDonald's more
I worked for McDonald's for almost 6 years as a kid.
than the wage.
Yeah,
Do you see what I mean? And this is why they
yeah,
get such a high turnover in the
yeah,
care sector.
yeah,
And it's a place where you want consistency.
absolutely.
If you're working in a home where the elderly got dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever, it's good for staff to be consistent.
Yeah, to know the
Because
person
they
well.
care
Yeah, yeah.
and their families.
Hmm.
We've got to value that. That's the key thing for me.
Yeah, okay.
We've got our story. That is the story.
Yeah, yeah.
And the government want to reduce net migration, take away the healthcare worker visa, reduce it by 50,000. That's just this year. And we're nearly halfway through. Imagine that. And
Mm,
that's the story.
yeah,
So what's your label? You might have the same.
yeah. It's a good question. We didn't talk much about how labels contribute to misunderstanding, but I think the idea of an economic migrant, in some of the discussions, people get vilified for being economic migrants rather than asylum seekers. I was an economic migrant.
I know you're saying that, but you're looked at differently.
I am, yeah, I am looked at differently. But the misconception is that you could just set a quota to reduce immigration and think that everything will be fine. You have to do more, right? We're working in a system. So if you make a change in one area, you have to anticipate changes in other areas too.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I think the label is sort of
Mm,
cheap labor.
yeah,
When nobody wants to do a job here, let's go abroad. Let's drag them in. Cheap labor.
yeah,
My misconception is that care work isn't skill. I don't do it myself, but as a carer
yeah,
myself, it does have a certain amount of skill. I don't think you could drag Joe Blogs off the street and just go and do this.
not everybody
Because
can
they
do it.
help people with their toileting or whatever. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah,
Do something. Yeah. But they believe it to be the lowly of the low. Because when you think about it, no government, whether Labour, Tory, really care that. I don't know if it's care, really value. They don't value what unpaid carers do. And they don't value what care workers do.
mm-hmm,
They don't. Never have. But those two areas are, to me, the most important in primary care.
mm-hmm,
Because if you haven't got your unpaid carer taking care, they might end up in A&E. You don't have a bed. You don't have your care workers. They'll end up clogging up A&E and clogging up a bed.
yeah,
We have to protect these two areas and value them.
absolutely.
And we always have this top-down approach where the value comes with, okay, you've got your PhD degrees, but the ones really doing the hard work that are really holding up the NHS sector, really holding it up. Because if unpaid carers and care workers weren't in place, the system would collapse. Nothing better than that.
Okay.
That's my last word. It would collapse. Value us.
Okay.